Welcome back, where today we're taking a bit of a detour from PSVR and VR in general to talk about some FPS games, because it's been too long and I want to talk about some FPS games. We got this video and possibly another one coming up if I have the time, but for today I want to talk about a game that came out a little while ago that I hadn't had the chance to really sink time into until this Christmas period, where I've had a little bit more time to relax and play things that I want to play. That being said, I did receive a review code for this one, so thank you to Offworld for providing that. I'm very sorry it took this long to actually get around to playing and reviewing the game, but I want to talk about it anyway. This is Starship Troopers Extermination, and I've been on a bit of a firefight kick on Halo recently, and Starship Troopers is kind of that, but for a beloved franchise that I grew up watching. It is literally just Halo firefight with hordes of enemies coming at you, but with various mission objectives set in the Starship Troopers universe, where you play as a random grunt in the military, fighting against hordes of bugs with loads of other players right beside you. It is the perfect co-op experience for this type of franchise, and it's a game that I've wanted to be made for many years, and they finally did it, and it took me too long to get around to it, but it is just as perfect as I imagined it would be all those years ago. Now, if I'm remembering right, I think this game was built off the framework of Squad, or at least old Squad. What I mean by that is that Squad has had an infantry overhaul in terms of movement and all that good stuff, and I think this was based on the old infantry model, and you can kind of tell from my limited experience with Squad, I would call it. I can kind of tell that framework is there. The movement isn't absolutely perfect in my opinion, but it works well enough, and most of the time you're defending rather than pushing up against bugs. So the gunplay is where it really matters, and in terms of animation, they're about on the same level as Squad's anims, and in terms of that game's gunplay, but a little bit more arcade style, and I think that's perfect for this kind of game. It has never felt so good gunning down hordes of enemies, and it really makes me feel like I'm playing a game like Deep Rock Galactic again, but instead of 4 players traversing through an underground mine on an alien world, it's on the surface of an alien world with up to, say, 20 other people fighting against hordes and hordes of bugs from a franchise that I absolutely love. That's what I think they've nailed most about Starship Troopers Extermination, is the feeling of the films being brought into a game without overdoing it, if that makes sense. It feels just as proud of itself as the films, I would say, in terms of how the military is portrayed, with the satire that the films have, but in a very presentable way where it's cleverly kind of weaved into each of the menus and into the sound bites and the clips that you get before each round starts, which really makes you feel like you're fighting for something. And if you're a fan of the films, you're going to get a kick out of the voice work, the music, the voice lines, and all the UI, because it's ripped straight from the films in terms of the artistic direction and the style, without it actually being ripped from the films. So, I mean, if you want to play it on stream, you can just play the game, because all the music is made for the game in the style of the films, which is great. The game also isn't so one-dimensional to just be shoot bugs and then that's it. There's a lot more to it. Besides all the different maps that you can play on, which do function very similarly but have different looks, there are different mission types that you can choose from, 4 in particular, 3 classes to choose from which have loads of unlocks, cosmetic and otherwise, so you can get different backpacks, visors, armor, and also get things that really matter, like the different guns and perks. Each class has a different playstyle. I prefer being the hunter with a jetpack. It gives me a lot of mobility, and while the jetpack feels a little janky compared to big AAA games, it is a load of fun to use, and when you're being swarmed by bugs, it's a great way of getting away from them. And those moments I just can't really find anywhere else in terms of gaming as a whole right now. The closest thing I can really compare it to is Warhammer Darktide, and I absolutely adore that game too, and I think it's just, I'm enjoying co-op shooters a lot more than PvP at the moment. I've been playing PvP games, don't get me wrong, I still have a place for them, but co-op shooters are really killing it right now. There are many more that I need to try, like Ready or Not or GTFO, or SCP-5K I think is another one, but from Darktide to Starship Troopers to Halo Firefight, I am eating pretty good right now, and so is the rest of the co-op shooter community, and even if you're not a fan of the games, you're still going to find something fun about Starship Troopers Extermination. With no prior knowledge, you can jump in, shoot a bunch of bugs, have a load of fun, with a bunch of other players with both proximity chat and team chat as a whole, which is what games like this really need. It's pretty much perfect. The only thing that isn't perfect is the performance, because sometimes my computer feels like it wants to die when so many bugs are on screen. My PC is fairly mid-range. I can run Darktide on high, I can run most AAA games on high, and get pretty good performance out of them. It does struggle a little bit with Extermination, but It's still in early access, so more updates are going to be coming, and they just released an update this December, including a bunch of new stuff, and they're updating as we go forward, and I can't wait to see where Starship Troopers Extermination goes next. While this hasn't been that long of a video, I just wanted to gush over a game that I'm really enjoying recently, and if any of you guys are interested in it, it's available on Steam and hopefully on consoles once it comes out of early access, but I'm not 100% on that, but I'm really enjoying it. So thank you all for joining me here today. What I like to do when I talk about FPS games is also throw another PSVR 2 video out there on the same day, just so we have a bit of a balance, because I'm never really sure how these videos are going to perform compared to the PSVR 2 stuff. So if you're here for that, there will be a PSVR 2 upload today also, so look forward to that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video.